Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I came back from the London UK pen show in March 2019. I managed to secure this pen. As you can see here, it's another Visconti, and this is the Manhattan Arco. And there has been a lot of controversy over this pen, and originally this was supposed to come out in a limited edition set of 70, along with the Armando Simone Club Bologna Burkina. And when it got to the LA Pen Show in February 2019, 12 of these, I believe, from multiple sources that I'm aware of, have said that 12 of these made it to the LA show. 2 made it back to the UK. Mine was one of them. Since then, there have been no other pens available out of that 70 set. Now, there were some controversies that they split the pens away from the set, and they are being sold separately, but still, as I understand it, only 12 were produced for the LA Pen Show. Now, I hope that there will be more that will be coming from that, what would have been a 70 limited edition run. This is a limited edition run pen of the 70. And I am so glad that I managed to pick this up. I actually hedged my bets with 3 different retailers, and I, in the end, was sincerely hoping that all 3 wouldn't come back and say that they've got this pen for me. Thankfully, only one came back and managed to secure the pen. So I have one of these here with me today, and this is now paid for. This is my pen, and I'm so glad that I managed to add this Visconti Manhattan Arco to my collection. So this was a collaboration done with ASC Pens and Visconti. ASC have the last remaining rod stock of most of the Omas celluloid, like the Arco Brown, the Arco Verde, and they did this with Visconti. And Visconti made this pen, and it's made with the initial Manhattan design, which precursor to the Wall Street, but it's very similar to the Wall Street in a number of ways. So let me just show you the pen here. So you have the cap finial, but it says ASC on it and not Visconti, because it was a collaboration between ASC and Visconti. You have the bridge clip here, and that is, if I show you here, it's done in a sort of a brown coloured enamel. You have this Greek keyband going on here, which is new. You've never seen this on a Visconti. Now, the pen tapers up from the tip of the cap here to the cap band, and then tapers back down here to a filling knob. Now, this is a power vac filling pen. Now, if I unscrew this here, you will also see it has an ink window, which is very much like the Manhattan or the Wall Street had, and this is a very welcome addition, I would say, to the pen. And you will also see here an 18 karat gold nib. Now, I believe that this nib and the feed, because the feed is ebonite, and you'll see this here, was provided by ASC to Visconti, because Visconti don't do any gold nibs anymore, and they're running out of palladium nibs as well. So, and you can see here the engraving on this nib with the M for medium is actually quite different to how they normally engraved it. So the Visconti nibs, be it the palladium or the gold nibs, were always made by Bock. The ASC nibs are always made by Bock as well. So I think it probably was a nib made by ASC or by Bock for ASC for Visconti, and that's why there also is an ebonite feed here. Now the threads here you have are quite small, in terms of the amount of threads there. They are not sharp, and you really don't feel them that much. You have the ink window, and then it flares out slightly onto the body, and then it starts to reduce in size to the power vac knob. Now, clearly, I'm not going to try and activate that power vac knob because it is inked up. But you can see here the ink window, and that is fully inked up. So this is a pen that I'm really glad that I managed to add to my collection. When I got wind of this pen in January, I wanted this pen, and that's why I enlisted 3 retailers to try and get me this pen. I know that sounds a little bit insane, but I know, especially with FOMO and fear of missing out, that like the chance of those 3 coming through are probably pretty remote, and that I will probably only get 1 or 2 pens. Even if I got 2, I'd be happy with 2. I'd be happy with 1, and I am happy with 1. So this is a lovely Visconti. I'm glad that Visconti did this collaboration with ASC, and I'm glad that this is the first, maybe the last, who knows, Arco pen by Visconti. So that was really why I needed to pick this up. It is a beautiful pen. Now, one thing to mention here is that normally most of these pens with the Arco celluloid from ASC, from Omas, have multiple threads cut. So you can find that sometimes that material will not line up. However, with this, there is only 1 thread. And I think Visconti did a really good job in not only being able to match this celluloid up between the cap here and the body, but also doing it on a single thread. I think is great. The only thing I would say that I don't like about this pen is that if I unscrew this here, you will see, and it's really hard to see, but if I zoom in a little bit, you will see that there is some laser engraving here on the pen. And it's very, very difficult to see that. And you can see Visconti there. Manhattan Visconti. And then the number. So it's very difficult to see that. So that is like you would expect on the top of the pen with the nib. Now, when you screw this down into the cap, it is no longer there because it's actually on the underside. So I think from that perspective, I don't know, I have mixed views about this. I've always thought having it on top distracts from the beauty of the pen, but I know a lot of manufacturers prefer it on the top because when photos or videos are taken, you can see that there. Whereas here you can't unless you twist the pen over or upside down, the reverse side of the pen. But look at this material. It's absolutely stunning. I really do love this. I love this pen. I love this pattern. I managed to pick this up from Sarge, the one-man pen show. He picked it up for me in LA, and I am really, really glad that he was able to pick this pen up. So I think let's do some size and weight checks. So the length of the pen, we are looking at 147 millimeters in length. The cap is 70 millimeters in length. So it's quite a long cap actually. And then if we go and check from the tip of the tines, we are looking, the full size of the pen is 130. So it is really getting into the oversized territory, I would say, or close to that. Normally I say around about 130 millimeters is around the oversized territory. So let's do a weight check. This is inked up. The full weight of the pen is just over 47 grams. The weight of the cap, we're looking at just under 18.5 grams. and then the weight of the pen, and I'm going to have to stop it rolling, is around 28.5 grams, I would say. So it is a heavier pen. It's not a light pen, but it's a gorgeous pen, and it's an Arco pen, and it's a Visconti pen. And I'm sure if you've watched many of my videos, you know that I have a lot of Viscontis. I have sold one Visconti so far. This would have been my 67th Visconti. It's my 66th now because I sold one. So clearly I do like Viscontis. And I do like Arcos because I have a lot of Arcos now as well. So having a Visconti in an Arco finish was a win-win for me. I really, really wanted this pen, and I'm so glad that I was able to acquire this pen. So many people are not able to get this pen as I make this video. Most of the retailers that had paid and pre-ordered for this pen unfortunately have now been refunded by ASC because of the lack of stock availability, and that is a shame. This pen is pretty insane. The price is good, the material is good, it's a Visconti. A lot of people want this pen, so I'm so glad that I was able to add this pen to my collection, and that it's a pen show pen for me at the London Pen Show that I picked up. So let's do a comparison with other pens. So from left to right, we have the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra in the Arco Verde with a gold trim. We also have it in a rhodium trim. We have the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Arco Brown in the rose gold trim. We have the Armando Simone Club Il Gladiatore, and that's a chocolate brown trim. We have the Visconti Manhattan Arco. We have the Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande. We have the Omas Milord. We have a Pelican M800 Royal Gold Rawdon. We have the Visconti Jacques de Molay. And we have the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Swirl. So I think with that, let's do a writing sample. So this is the Visconti Manhattan Arco, and it is a medium nib. Now the ink in here, like most of my Arcos, is Akamon SBRE brown. I think it's just a lovely brown, and it matches really well with these Arco Brown celluloids. So, in terms of line variation, this is a medium nib, and to me, it writes more like a fine nib. And initially, I didn't like it, but I'm getting used to it now. Now, in terms of extra line variation, you can coax maybe double the line variation out of this, but it's quite a stiff nib, so it's not a nib that you are going to want to push hard. If you do, then maybe you will spring the tines, because that was actually quite a lot of pressure that I was putting down. In terms of wetness, you can see there that that's quite a wet nib still though. And if I show you here, this is an A4 pad, so it's still quite wet. It's not a fire hose nib for sure, but it's quite a wet nib. So for me, this is quite a nice writer. I would prefer it was more of a medium. And when I say medium, this probably writes more like a medium, a regular medium. But as we know it, the Visconti medium nibs tend to write more like a broad nib, and that's kind of what I'm used to. So to me, this feels a little bit more like a fine nib. However, it's a good, consistent writer, and I've been writing with this pen all week. I've written 7 letters with this pen, and I really do like it. So for me, this is a great pen. I'm glad that I've managed to add this to my collection. I'm glad that Sarge managed to pick this up for me. Sarge is a dangerous man, and he has some really lovely pens, and he can get pens. So I'm glad I was able to pick this pen up when I did, because the availability is pretty scarce at the moment. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.